there is a lot of finger pointing going on as the bloc faces this unprecedented energy crisis. That winter crunch is looming, and according to some, this is a problem that has been years in the making. Let's have a look at some of the main issues across Europe at the moment, and we'll start here in France, where there has been a price increase this month of 12.6% in gas tariffs. That follows several months of other rises. The Prime Minister Jean Castex says there will now be a freeze and there will not be any more increases, but of course that doesn't mitigate the months of increases that people have already seen on their household bills. Then in Spain, where prices there have tripled in the last year. I mean, we know that the Spanish government has made emergency measures to try and mitigate the worst impact from the poor, but small business unions are just saying this is an impossible situation. Coming after the COVID crisis, businesses just cannot take any more. And then in Italy, where prices are set to soar by 40%, the Italian government has announced a package of €3 billion to try and aid that. And then in Germany, we also heard last week that one power plant had to completely shut up shop. And it's not the first time it had to also do the same a number of times in September. Why? Well, because it couldn't get enough coal. This crisis when it comes to natural gas has pushed more people towards buying coal, depleting those stocks as well. So it seems like this is a double whammy. So what's behind this looming catastrophe? Well, the EU cannot agree on that, but some member states see that this is a problem that the EU has caused itself because it's pushed too fast, too quickly to move to greener energy, and at the same time has moved away from fossil fuels. And essentially what it's done is has left the entire bloc exposed.
Energy prices are currently soaring across the EU and putting unprecedented pressure on both energy companies and on our citizens. When designing energy and climate policies, we have to ensure their social acceptability, otherwise we risk their failure.
Well, the EU flatly denies this. It rejects it. It says actually this crisis shows that the problem is that there is too much dependence in the EU on fossil fuels, and the reality is that the only way to mitigate crises like this in the future is to move harder and faster towards green energy.
Instead of being paralysed or slowing things down because of the price hike now in the energy sector, we should speed things up in the transition to renewable energy so that affordable renewable energy becomes available for everyone.
Well, as the EU is scratching its head over what to do, it's also looking potentially for a scapegoat. And some have suggested that Russia is to blame for this crisis, saying that it is holding back on natural gas reserves. Russia says that's not the case. In fact, Russia says it's willing to step up to the hour of need of its European neighbours and increase the supplies of gas to meet those needs, those demands. But what needs to happen for that to take place is the certification of the Nord Stream 2 pipe. This is a pipe that was completed last month and would see natural gas be able to be delivered directly to Germany. But before that can happen, that certification needs to take place. That is something that EU finance ministers are likely to discuss this week as they meet to discuss this entire crisis. But the idea that EU finance ministers are discussing bread and butter subjects like energy bills and how people are going to pay them really gives you a sense of how deep this crisis is. And as they're scratching their heads looking for a solution, there are tens of millions of households who are concerned about what this winter is going to bring, the difficult choices that they will have to make in order to either heat their homes or feed their families. All the while, the EU is wondering how it will keep the lights on.